Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Continuing our look at the Grotmas detachments with day 2. This came out yesterday. This is the Lion's Blade Task Force for the Dark Angels. Initial thoughts. It's a bit of an odd one. So it's basically a detachment that forces you almost to do a combined Ravenwing, Deathwing assault force, basically. I don't know what I would have gone with, but this probably wouldn't have been my choice if I was to be asked to design a detachment for Dark Angels. But let's take a look at it and just see what's what. So the detachment rule is called In the Lion's Claws, and they've gone quite wordy in some of the bits on here, so bear with me. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, within engagement range of one or more Ravenwing units from your army falls back, all models in that enemy unit must make a desperate escape test. When doing so, if the enemy unit is battle shocked, they subtract 1 from those tests. Okay, that's not bad. You run your bikes up and basically if they try and run away, you're going to run them down. Okay, thematic, nice. In addition, each time a Deathwing unit from your army declares a charge, if one or more targets of that charge are within engagement range of one or more Ravenwing units from your army, you get +2 to the charge roll. That's really, really good. But again, it's emphasizing the fact that you need to be playing the 2 factions, Deathwing and Ravenwing, to make it really work. It then goes into this little restriction that you can include Dark Angel units but no other chapters. Well, you know that, you're playing Dark Angels. But there you go. 4 detachments. Enhancements. I knew what I was talking about. Calibanite armaments, +1 to the damage of the bearer's melee weapons. So if they've got more than 1, that's great. Really like that. 15 points. Lord of the Hunt, also 15 points. Ravenwing only. The bearer's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which it fell back, and you can re-roll desperate escape tests taken from models in that unit. So a slightly better tactical doctrine. Although it is only Ravenwing, but that's not bad. I like it. Stalwart Champion for 25 points. Must be Captain, Chaplain, or Lieutenant. And while they are leading a unit which is not battle shocked, you get +1 to the OC of models in that unit. Again, very, very nice. And lastly, the one I think is perhaps slightly better is the Fulgus Magna, which apparently is a legendary teleport homer. For Deathwing models only, once per battle, at the end of your opponent's turn, if the bearer's unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can activate this, and if you do so, you remove that unit from the battlefield and put it back in strategic reserves. I like that. That's very good. It gives you a chance to pull Terminators back from wherever they might be and then drop them where you need them on the following turn. Not bad. 20 points, well worth it. None of those are particularly bad, nor particularly overpowered, so they seem quite balanced. You've got 6 stratagems, one of which is Armour of Contempt. We all know what that is, so I'm not going to go over that. So we have Overpowering Exaction. So in your command phase or the start of the fight phase, you pick a starter unit from your army. You select 1 enemy unit with engagement range of that unit, and the enemy unit must make a battle shock test. When doing so, if your unit is Deathwing or Ravenwing, they get -1 to the result. And this is only once per battle round. Okay, so that's quite nice. You're beating the enemy so hard that you basically battle shock them. Anything that makes battle shock more usable is good in my book. Strength in Unity. Now you must forgive me here. This one, very, very wordy. Let's take a look. So in the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. Okay. One Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of those attacking units' attacks. Okay, so you're targeting one of your own units, but then the wording here is not great. If that enemy unit, okay, is within engagement range of one or more Ravenwing units from your army until the end of the phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, they subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the enemy unit is within engagement range of one or more Deathwing units from your army until the end of the phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, if the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness characteristic of the target, they subtract 1 to wound, and you cannot use this with Armor of Contempt. Okay, one, that's really wordy, G-Dub. Don't keep doing this. Secondly, it's badly worded because you're targeting one of your units, but your unit is not mentioned in the effect of the ability. Instead, the ability is affecting an enemy unit. So why did they not just say the enemy unit instead of one of your units? I think it's just badly worded. However, the nice thing about this is if by looking at it, you may disagree, but I think reading this, if that enemy unit is engaged range of both a Ravenwing and a Deathwing unit, you get to apply both of those effects. And I think that's fine. Just, G-Dub, please stop with the overly worded things. You can word this so much better. And then we hit Knights of Iron. In your movement phase, I'll just point out all these are 1 CP. In your movement phase or your charge phase, you pick one Ravenwing unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes a normal, advance, or charge move, it can move horizontally through terrain features. Now, the first time I read this, I had a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. I went, "Argh," because that just seems really, and then I kind of went, well, hang on, if my Outriders for my Space Marines could do this, I would be happy. So I shouldn't be grumbling that bikes can suddenly run through impassable terrain, impassable buildings. You should be happy that they can just cinematically smash their way through a ruined wall and get to the enemy. So, kick that knee-jerk reaction to the curb and actually say, hey, it's making Ravenwing better. So let's go for it. Illuminating Fire. Your shooting phase, just after a Ravenwing unit from your army has selected its targets, select one enemy unit within 12 of your unit that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a friendly Deathwing unit makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. Too many words. So basically, it's Tracer Fire. Your Ravenwing goes up and basically lights up a unit, and then the Deathwing units have an easier time killing them. Again, quite like that. It's not too bad. It's thematic. And lastly, for 2 CP, so I fibbed slightly, Inescapable Wrath. End of your opponent's charge phase, one Deathwing infantry or Deathwing walker unit for your army that is within 6 inches of one or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against one or more of those enemy units if it were your charge phase. Now charges one or more of those enemy units and you resolve that charge. If they're within 6, they automatically charge in, but you don't get any charge benefits. It's a bit of an odd one, but hey ho. So they do all that, and then your Terminators or your Dreadnought run in and resolve what they're doing. Great if you want to finish off a unit, I suppose. Seems slightly odd, but hey, I'm not going to complain. It's quite good. In the right situation. So that's the Lion's Blade Task Force. So, thoughts. As a detachment that's making you use both factions, Ravenwing and Deathwing, I think it's clunky. I did look over it and kind of go, well, can you just play one or the other? And realistically, no, you may as well play another detachment if you're just going to do that. This is really about playing both of them. They're bouncing their benefits off of one another, of you fielding both factions within the Dark Angels. I have to agree with some comments that I see online from Dark Angels players saying that right now this isn't great in their eyes because the Ravenwing are quite pants right now. I can understand where they're coming from. I would like things like Outriders to be better for normal Marines. And although Ravenwing I think are slightly better because they have, there's more to Ravenwing than just saying bikes. I can see what they're saying, that this is not a great... They are not a great faction, as it were, to play. So I'm not fully expecting to see much of this detachment on the tabletop. I'd really like to face it and see how it goes, but I'm not overly impressed by this detachment. I think it's got some nice abilities. It's got some nice bouncing of benefits between the two sides, but I would probably have come up with something different. I'm even kind of loath to say it's kind of thematic. I think for a very casual game, this is spot on, but I don't think this is particularly good in any sort of competitive match play style, at least not yet. Maybe something coming up, because we've still got a rules update, I think, in December to come, if I remember correctly. Maybe that will make some changes and suddenly this detachment will suddenly leap off of the page. Anyway, that's the Lion's Blade Task Force. Not the best one we've seen so far. Nice and thematic to an extent, but probably not going to see a lot of use. What are your thoughts on this detachment? Let me know down below. Give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the comments because I really want to know what your thoughts are. And I'll see you also in the next video coming up, which is the new Tyrannid detachment. Take care, guys. Good gaming.